Hello, podcast host and editor here. Unfortunately, we stumbled upon a glitch in which Dom ended up sounding robotic, a little bits and pieces throughout this whole episode. Hopefully, it's still understandable, and we should have some subtitles up there to help you along. So, without further ado, take it away past us.
Hello and welcome to the DJ Podcast, episode 7. I am your host, DomJake.
And I am your host, Jacob.
I know we're probably a little bit late to the party, but we're here to kind of talk about the holiday. Let's start with you, Jacob.
Sure thing.
Anything crazy?
Alright, anything crazy unspontaneous? Let's just say no. No, nothing crazy and spontaneous for this one, but essentially it pretty much started as a normal-ish day. I mean, the only addition was we all kind of had to go to bed a little bit earlier than we usually would on Christmas Eve. And that's because the magic of Santa doesn't happen unless if everybody's asleep, right? Well,
Yeah.
it did start off as a Christmas Eve sort of thing. I mean, we kind of separated off, did our own things anyway, but it was basically my mom and I in the living room, though, while the other other three people were basically doing their own thing. So if we're going to talk about a tradition or something, so essentially if we're going to talk about any traditions or whatnot like that, what we do is, at least my mom and I, we look up the Santa tracker thing on like the TV, right? And there's usually like an interactive map. It tells you about the locations in the world, like, oh, Mexico has this tradition for Christmas versus, oh, the same sort of thing can be in, I don't know, Belize, and then Nicaragua has something different, or in Massachusetts, and so on and so on and so forth. But it has that tracker, and it also has little games. It has like karaoke, and it has the tracker. That's something that we pretty much do every single year, at least the two of us, because our old tradition isn't really there anymore. In that, since time is time, and now is in the future, now can't always be how the past was, if that makes any sense.
Doesn't make
Meaning,
sense.
former traditions, let's just say, are no longer a thing. Our house used to be the celebration hub for Christmas Eve. How we did it was, and I might explain further in a later episode, I mean, like, way later, because time has to change, but for Easter, we went over to one of my uncle's houses, and then for Thanksgiving, it was at another house, one of my other uncles, right? And then Christmas Eve was our thing here. I think mainly because of a different reason, which I'll explain a little bit later on in this episode, but I digress. We're going back to the Christmas Eve stuff. This place used to be bustling with family members in the backyard, in the kitchen, probably on the rooftop. I don't know, but I would assume, because some of my family does get a little bit, let's just say, a little bit too deep in the eggnog. And
I see.
they get a little bit jolly for the jolly spirit. So that tradition really isn't anymore because, let's face it, some of the family members are no longer with the living. We could say that.
Yep.
And so the past maybe 3 years or maybe even longer, like 6, 7, 8, heck, maybe even 10 years, we kind of just did the household thing of just the five of us and our pets, obviously. And so, long story short, Mom and I were basically the Christmas people in the living room versus, I think my dad was watching, I think, a Star Wars marathon or no, Lord of the Rings marathon. And my two brothers were just playing video games, I think Overwatch 2. So it really wasn't that special, but I mean, the Christmas Eve part isn't really supposed to be special, typically. Of course, like I said, our house was the Christmas Eve celebration one, but it isn't anymore. So, in terms of what it used to be, it's not as special as it could have been. Um, so, actually, speaking of Christmas Eve, though, how was your 24th?
Well, I mean, it's tradition. Go to my uncle's, but instead of going in the evening and having spending it there, we kind of had it. He had an open house, so we can just go. We went there during the day. We just ate food, hung out, watched TV. Just kind of went home. You know, I didn't do the one gift every year, like one gift on Christmas Eve, like I do. But
Sure.
yeah, but I did not
Used
get
to
up.
do that too.
Yeah, but I didn't get up like a thing anymore.
Yep.
I guess let's just say we went past puberty.
Let's just say that.
And opened my gift like I
Yeah.
would. And then we went to, me and my siblings went to our dad's to have dinner and then watched a movie. And then, yeah, we just hung out and then went home. Essentially,
Oh, you were actually talking about the Christmas day, not the Christmas Eve.
nope.
Yeah, that was like Christmas Day, like when
We
we just.
just did the gifts, ate dinner, and then hung out, watched a movie, and that's it. Yep.
Right, yeah. And no more are the days where we got that $2 train set that was on the television for 5 months,
Nope.
and we just were excited, right? Like,
No
or
more little tykes like toys.
dang, I didn't get my log cabin this year.
Yeah, man, I wanted that monster truck this year, but hey, we got consumer electronics.
But it almost reminds me of that tacky gift where it's like my parents went to the Bahamas and all they got me was this lousy shirt, right? Like,
Not one of those things.
actually, I'm curious about this one, but speaking of tacky presents, and this could be from this year or a different year. What was your most tacky present that you've either gotten someone else or gotten from somebody?
This year, or are you talking about a couple years?
I'm talking about any.
I mean, I got a digital photo frame last year. I guess
That
that's
was tacky.
Oh, tacky! Oh my god! I mean, a pajamas. Could pajama sets count?
I'll allow it.
I guess I had like an elf pajamas. You know the movie Elf.
Of course, who doesn't?
Got the pajama pants of that. I only wore it I think once or twice.
Were they at least comfortable though?
Yep. Where?
If they're comfortable, wear them all the time, heck.
Well, I'll have to, well, I just have to do.
Oh yeah. Actually, I was talking about this with my mom a little bit earlier, but um, I think this counts as tacky. One year, I was pretty much obsessed with balloons,
Oh,
and so I go to bed on Christmas Eve. This was definitely more than 10 years ago. This was like maybe when I was 6 or something. But I go to bed with like a pretty much empty tree, and then I wake up and walk down the stairs, or I don't even need to go down the stairs to see how many freaking balloons are scattered a bunch. Okay, some were on the floor. A lot of them were helium filled, so they were scattered along the ceiling. Some of it was, like the colorful, just regular balloon ones, and then some of them were those like silver aluminum sort of color with like characters and stuff like that. Um, let's just say that was really tacky, but you know what? It got my balloon obsessed little kid self to be very entertained for like the next 2 weeks or something. It was
oh,
really awesome.
you brought your obsession like literally, like pretty much like a big giant slope up.
Oh god, yeah! Like,
Oh,
imagine you just whatever your favorite hobby is, or whatever your favorite thing is.
oh,
Imagine not seeing anything like that in your room or in your house, and then the next day you have a full room filled with it.
mm. Now I remember something I used to really like when I was like 10 years ago. When I when I first, well, I liked it was like a late night talk show host. Probably not gonna say its name, but then I started liking that for a little bit, and then for Christmas I got like a book that was based on one of the little segments they do on the show.
Huh. A
So,
talk show host.
well, let's just say now he does the Tonight Show.
Really?
Well, he's done it for a while, but at the time when I liked, at the time though, he was still a late night host.
Jimmy.
Yes, it is. Yep, that's who I used to like. That I used to like watching. Like,
Don't worry if you really want it cut out. I'll be fine with it. But
it
if
was.
you don't want me to cut anything, then I'll just leave it as is. But I could obviously cut some things.
Yeah, so I remember. Yeah, I used to like the Jimmy Fallon show. Like when I was in 6th grade. And then I got a book of the thank you notes.
Yes. Right.
I used to be obsessed with that for a while.
Dear laundry detergent.
Yeah, thank you, laundry detergent, or thank you, clapping for high five self.
And
That's all you're doing.
thank you. Thank you, old calendars, for keeping track of my old appointments because I forgot when I last went to the doctor.
Yeah. Like,
Speaking of calendars, though, New Year's Eve.
oh yes. Oh yeah,
How was your should I? How was your auld lang acquainting? That doesn't make sense.
my New Year's.
Let's go with that.
Mine was mine was fine. I lost sleep the night before. I only got like
Oh,
4 hours.
Only 4 hours on a freaking New Year?
Before, like, the night of, like, before New Year's.
Oh, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that,
Okay.
New Year's Day was good.
All right. So I'm very curious about this, but how did you pretty much celebrate the New Year's though?
I don't know. I was at my house with my. I was home, and then the horn thing, all the party stuff. We had every year we do like Chinese food.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, and then just celebrate when the new year hit. Yep. Well, you know how it goes.
Oh yeah, I generally know how it goes, but
Yep,
the
you know.
thing I was wondering is, so how how can I put this? How deep in the eggnog were you?
I was actually moderately fine. I didn't go too over the top this year.
Oh, that's interesting. I almost expected you to have
Be
blacked
like,
out for New Year's.
this is your first like official New Year's, if that makes sense.
Yes, but I still have yet to really do anything.
Well,
I don't have that interest.
I mean, I
I
was
don't know, but if anything, I just like the fact that I'm able to, that I'm able to actually go into a casino with people and not really worry or whatever. Like that's the only thing I'm kind of
actually
fine.
go. Did you go this? Did you actually go to the casino when you
No,
were set
actually,
there?
no. No, I haven't really gone to a casino in like a year or two, maybe. So you didn't pass out for New Year's Day?
Not this year. I have not.
Not this year, but you have the others?
2 years ago,
Oh, you gotta tell it now.
I don't know. I think I went a little too far with that. Nog, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
Let's just say that.
Obviously, you don't need to say further if you don't want to, but it's probably entertaining. So maybe
That-
one day,
Yep.
maybe one day we talk about that.
Yep. That was. Yep. No, this year. Yep. I've been. Yep. This year I'm pretty. This year was just a normal year. And
So was last year.
so was last year.
Oh yeah, but the 2 years before, you know what? The 2 years ago, you drank enough for the next 3 years, right? God, I love how little emotion was in that laugh.
Yep.
But
That's what I.
yeah,
Hey, it was well. Hey, I
Had adults with me. So
I was safe.
when it comes to my New Year, though, essentially the same sort of thing, except I had no real alcohol or whatever. I'm typically staying up pretty late anyway, so that 12 o'clock wasn't really an issue. In fact, it was probably like really early for me, but regardless, the thing is, I don't remember what we were doing, but for like, I want to say for most of the rocking New Year's Eve thing, for most of it, we weren't really tuning in. I just thought of, hey, we haven't turned it on. Let's do it whenever there's 30 minutes left. So that's basically what we did.
We just like.
Uh, we pretty much just watched it and celebrated, and I think technically my New Year's kiss was my dog, but
Not your
so
cat.
no, she was downstairs in the downstairs domain. only was able to do the dog.
Of course.
But yeah, New Year's New Year's Eve is filled with many people who aspire to give the world a brand new version of themselves for the following year. And everybody usually has these little goals that they want to achieve before next year starts. That's right.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about resolutions. Do you have any for this year?
I do want to try, I guess, increasing my skills for cooking. That's one of,
Cooking skills, yeah.
because I've lately been trying to make stuff for myself. I'm gonna try working on that this year.
That's a good goal there.
Yep. So,
And I like how that one, at least, is phrased. I like how you're saying you want to get more into it. You're not saying you want to be a master chef within a year
no,
or own like
maybe I'm not.
50 Michelin star restaurants.
Maybe I'm
But
not. I may not be Hell's Kitchen, but hey, you know what? It's good enough for me.
you'll just be running Heck Kitchen.
Yeah, that's literally what it's gonna be.
It's not so far down, but it's just Heck.
It's just Heck's Kitchen. That's all it's gonna be.
It's not even gonna be a kitchen. It's like Heck's Canteen,
Yeah, maybe
Heck's Diner.
Heck's Shack or something like that.
You know, full circle. Heck's Baking Company.
Oh yeah, yeah. Heck's Baking Company. Yep.
Perfect. We put a pin in it. You're gonna open up a Heck's Baking Company.
Yep, that's definitely what I'm gonna do.
But yeah, I certainly like that one. Do you happen to have any else, or is it just that cooking one?
I know. Like, sure. I know I've done a little photography. Maybe I can try to get more like equipment for that.
Or equipment for photography? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because honestly, some of your stuff is pretty nice there.
Oh yeah, you saw my page, right?
I've seen some of it. I mean, I'm not like a freak who's like stalking your every post or whatever.
I know
Like
I know what you mean.
I'm not refreshing every single second. Like, when's the next Dominic pick? When's the next Dom pick?
When's that one coming, huh?
Yeah, but every now and then it does pop up on my feed though, and it's like, oh, that actually looks nice.
Well, I don't really, I'm saying I don't really have really much space here to really set up really any equipment, I guess. But
Oh yeah.
there's only one place I could.
What sort of equipment are you thinking of though?
Well, like mostly like darkroom equipment.
Okay, yeah. That stuff does take a considerable amount of space anyway. Because what I was thinking you were talking about was like maybe backdrops or something for like school photos. I don't know why I thought of school photos, but I don't know. But
remember those?
you can pretty much get a lot done with pretty much just a decent photo editing app and just your phone nowadays.
Yeah, well, it's like even the
pretty good.
Even like just the native app on your like the photo app, you could just edit right there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Or if you're on a desktop, you get something like Adobe or DaVinci Resolve or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. But that is something that I think you're already pretty much almost there. But obviously you do want to get, and this is just me repeating you, not me telling you what to think or whatever. I'm just repeating what you said. Obviously you want a little bit more equipment and so sometimes what I've noticed is that if you have more equipment in public, people don't care as much. They only care if they'll like stare at you if you're like, vlogging with your phone versus like you have a camera crew with a boom mic. If you have a boom mic, everybody's just, oh, you're a news anchor. Go ahead, do your
And
thing.
the thing, oh well, I think the only thing the client's gonna care about is, oh, this picture looks great. We can hang this in the family living room. Oh, glad you enjoy my
Oh,
service.
this one looks fantastic. I'm gonna keep it. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, I don't have any room for this good picture. I'll just put it in the same frame. I'll just put it over it.
Oh, let me just we don't need this bathroom. We could just like smash the walls and put a frame right there.
Oh, jeez. You're going too far with that one, but I suppose.
Hey, you wanna put extra? Oh wait, I can't see my picture. Oh, it's because you put a frame on. Put that picture over it.
Oh, yeah. We kind of went over it a little bit before with our last episode,
Mm-hmm.
but do you personally have any DJ related resolutions?
Oh yeah, I'd like to really kind of get some. Trying to think of like any skits we could do, but like, sure as if you've probably seen like if you ever seen any content on my like personal channel, you've probably seen what I've kind of done. But my I like to try to get those creative juices back.
Right, yeah.
I guess after that kind of burnt me out a little bit. I'm trying to kind of get that back.
I think those are pretty decent resolutions, and in the same vein, let's just say, I have a bunch of resolutions too. Let's see, I want to get going on. Okay, let's take a little tangent here, but the two of us semi-regularly do play the game Super Mario Maker 2. For those of you not in the know, it's basically a game where you can make Mario levels. That's the quickest way to explain that. Essentially, I want to make a series of 5 levels, I think. I have one completed, like fully completed, decorated, everything works, and actually, this guy right here helped me with the testing out process too, which I do appreciate that. He was a game tester for my first level, but I really want to figure out the mechanisms and the technology to actually get this going. I want to upload the final one. I don't have any of them uploaded yet, but I want to upload all 5 of them this year. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know whatever, but I just hope that one's a little bit worked on. So that's one of them. I want to complete those levels. And okay, here's one that I could think of. I want to become a little bit more fluent in another language. The one that I've been doing is Japanese, but my Nihongo ain't so Jozu, let's just say. I do want to get a little bit better with that. I'm certainly not interested in becoming, the most articulate scholar or whatever, but I do want to get a little bit better with that. Oh, and another fun one. This is a fun one for a different reason. Okay. Dom, you know what collaborations are, right?
Yep.
I think you do, right? It's where somebody is working on some project with another somebody, at least.
Yeah.
Just like this show. No, but
I mean,
this is technically a collaboration between 1 and 2. I mean, at this point, I think this is technically our main channel or whatever, because let's face it, you're not using your old one that we were talking about Bop It
Oh,
on.
yeah, that one, yeah. I've kind of,
And
at this point,
I mean,
abandoned it.
I'm using mine, but if anything, mine is for just like the random shits and giggles ones.
I mean,
But
I'll still go on it, but I don't really post anymore because, yeah.
I will post, but like every now and then. The latest one I did was the pizza thing, and that was like a few days ago. But
Still gotta finish that one.
still gotta finish that one. Hey, maybe link in the description. I probably won't. I'll forget to do that. But um, where did I go with that?
Talking
Collaborations.
about, yeah, so like, I mean, we kind
Yes.
of collaborate, but it's not like I'm one channel working with a different. We're both like this. We're both the same channel. But
Yes. This is our channel, so both of us have the password. But it kind of is a collaboration. At least it's two different brains. I guess that's I guess a definition of collaboration. Just two people have to be involved at least. But the reason why I brought up collaborations is because, and I know it might sound like I'm talking about collaborating on this channel. That's a good one. I want to at least get like maybe an episode or maybe something with somebody else. Maybe. That wasn't what I was going to say though. Let's just say that two of my brothers have some artistic talent, and I have decent writing and planning talent. So, hopefully, obviously they have full-time jobs, so we gotta kind of deal with that. But hopefully, we get some progress on a collaborated story or comic or webtoon or heck Netflix show. But I want to get something done, at least because it's one of those things. I don't know if you feel this way with your siblings or whatever, but it almost feels like I want to get something done that we could pass down, and it's like, oh, this trilogy was worked on by only our dad and uncles, right? Like this was wow, this was the cool thing. They got, I don't know, a Pulitzer Award for doing it. But I kind of want to get something done. I'm not going to share the, I guess, theming or ideas that we have, at least not yet, because it is in the pre-planning stages. Like literally, like a month ago, I just typed out like 8 possible sort of scenarios, sort of, let's say, flowcharts, and they kind of picked pieces from pretty much how we did the YouTube description, actually, but except for different things. But that's something that I do want to get. And as for a DJ specific resolution, I kind of want to go. You kind of said that you wanted to get some other content out there. I kind of want to do the same, but since you took that, and I already said collaborations, I kind of want to get at least something out there with other people.
like, you want to put your content on there, and I can put mine on there. So essentially, like, we kind of both want to like do something that's not like a podcast and.
Right, yeah. Ooh, oh, I can actually say this one. I will just wing it. I'm not gonna pull up the document for it, but Essentially, for a year, maybe a year and a half, I have been on and off working on dun 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 a a personal Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I've been pretty much making like the I know, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons is pretty random anyway. The players pretty much dictate where the stories go, and it's kind of my job to go with it and say what happens at where they go. Um, yeah, I guess that's really the simplest explanation for that. But for a little bit, I have been writing down like little plot points that I kind of want to get going on. Maybe ideas for towns, kingdoms, which, if you haven't heard the kingdoms episode, that's the first one that we have. Go listen to it. Um, I kind of want to put the your kingdom and my kingdom maybe in my story. Who knows? Like have your kingdom fighting my kingdom or something like that in the Dungeons and Dragons story, but I'm not there yet. Um, so I have a basic plan for where the story path will go, where the heroes can go. I've been planning a little bit of how the towns will look, what races live where, what types of classes are there, and I'm not talking about school classes. I'm talking about like job classes, sort of like sorcerer, bard, warlock. I don't know. There are a lot of them. It's just one of those things. It's hard to name every single one of them because all of them are in my head right now. Um, but yeah, I want to kind of do it on my own, but I also kind of want to put it on this channel in a way. Unless if you're super opposed to it. I mean, back when I asked you, like, do you maybe want to become a shopkeeper? You weren't opposed to that, but that's also just like being a small little cameo every now and then versus joining me for like a freaking marathon of a game or whatever. But I kind of want to at least get that going, whether or not it's on this one or not. That doesn't make sense, but whatever. Whether or not we do it here or me just personally, I kind of want to get that going.
I guess you could, if you wanted to on this channel, you could promote it on yours if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, if I am putting it here, I'm definitely going to do what I did and post like on my personal community tab. Not that really anybody looked at it. I checked the information about it, but regardless, like I'll still try to advertise it because it would suck to put like a year, okay, on and off, so 6 months of work doing it, not saying it to anybody, and just have it sit on the hard drive forever, collecting virtual dust, and like, well, I'm not gonna advertise anything, right? Like, it sucked to put all that effort in, only to not do it.
So you're gonna. You try to do that this year.
Certainly,
Yeah.
because I'm at the point where it's like I'm ready to kind of cast my net, and I kind of want to get a little bit. I kind of want to get some beginners, not just professionals, because if anything, I'm also sort of a beginner. I mean, I know a decent bit just from listening to other podcasts and watching little bits of content, maybe reading a little bit of article, but I kind of want some beginners to learn alongside me. So I do hope to at least maybe get some people. easier said than done with that one.
Well, like with anything, you just gotta put the effort into doing it.
That's like
Something.
everything else, right?
Yeah, well, pretty much. And also schedules.
Right. It's already a heck of a issue trying to get the two of us to record at the same time, let alone getting like two, three, four other people involved. That's that's nonsense there, but it does make sense because everybody has different lives. But yeah, since we spoke about resolutions, I'm going to bring back one of yours that you said.
Oh yeah, that's something I thought about. Probably even before the holidays, I had a thought about this. Since we were talking about holidays, maybe we could do like a holiday recipe, like anything you wouldn't make like year round.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was going to segue beautifully, but yeah, let's roll with the punches. Um, that's right, everyone. Introducing the second time we're doing the segment Taste Trades. This time, Holiday Edition. And I think that's a good intro,
Yeah,
sort of.
I guess it's the sequel slash holiday edition.
We're going to do the same thing that we did last time, in that we're going to say what it is, then we're going to pretty much cut off, and then we'll send each other the recipes.
Yep, and then next week we should be able to talk about those recipes, how we made it, and how we liked it or how we didn't like it.
And without further ado, let's share what our recipes are.
Ooh, yeah, I still have to. Yeah, I still have to get mine sent to me. But can you tell me what yours is?
You had one job.
I was supposed to get just like how you would make
Go ahead, say what it's
they're
called.
almond crescent cookies.
Almond crescent cookies. Am I getting that right? Almond crescent.
Yeah,
Cool.
and
Now, I will tell you the title of mine. Holiday shortbread cookies.
so we're both cookies. So we're both doing cookies, huh?
I thought with how you were basically telling me about it, that like you were saying it should be a medium scale. And I'm like, but
Well,
I'm sending you this. Is it that hard?
Oh, I didn't know what you. Well, I didn't know what you were really saying, so I just assumed it.
So, and
So for
remind you,
you, this is gonna be
none of us told each other before recording what we're doing. The only thing we did was make sure that they are all relatively the same-ish cost and the same-ish skill. I guess we'll see you in part 2 after we've made these things.
after we created them and then tasted them and enjoy them. So I guess we'll see you next week.
See you next week. We're not concluding.
Right? Yeah. Well.
We don't conclude yet. But this has been part 1 of Taste Trade 2. I don't know. We gotta get
Part 1 of episode 7. So I guess we'll have 7.5 next.
Well, I mean, I'm still going to edit this in the same video. I'm not gonna like upload it.
And we're back. From the moment we stopped to now, we both cooked our recipe. Turns out, I guess my recipe, well, his recipe went well. And how did yours go?
And honestly, I could say it went above and beyond, more than well. Because I believe we found a new staple, thanks to this weird experimental thing that we decided to try to do that last episode. So we're doing this segment again. So yeah, we already shared in part 1 what they were, but for a little refresher, since it's been a few days for us, let's, I guess, give a refresher of what our titles. Dom, you first. What did you
Oh,
send me?
I sent you almond crescent cookies, which they originally were. Well, it did state in the recipe like what you can use. You don't have to use almonds, but from what you told me, you used walnuts.
We did the walnut version, correct. And I know you did say, or at least not you, the recipe you sent said that you could use almonds, because obviously you could use almond in the almond crescent. That'd be weird if they named it that and you couldn't use it. You could use walnuts, and you could also use pecans,
Yeah,
whatever.
interesting. Okay, so anyways, what did you send me?
What I sent you over was holiday shortbread cookies. Once again, it's basically one of the family recipes that we have in a book, or no, we have it as like a little recipe card. So the hard part for me was basically deciphering what my ancestors, I guess, wrote down in the ancient language of cursive. Whoever speaks it today, right? That's a lost language. I ended up actually having to type out what the cursive was, because not only was it cursive, it was on tiny paper that was falling apart, had coffee smudges or stains on it, and it also had some old papery, I guess. It was like crumbling apart, basically. That's what I sent you over. I'll ask you the interview questions, so then you can maybe ask me later, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the easiest thing ever and 10 being the hardest thing ever, how would you rank the skill involved in doing this?
It's kind of like a 5.
It was a 5, it was an average?
Well,
Interesting.
Well, the rolling pin did not really. Our rolling pin did not really help, I guess, when we tried to bake the cookies. The dough kept sticking to it, so we just pretty much pushed it down with our hands.
Hmm.
And it did get a little bit messy when it came to. We mixed it up and then just putting it on the little, on a board.
Oh yeah, I like the baking sheet or the pan, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we used the.
So on my recipe, I included 2 different pathways you could do. The original one that was written down on the recipe card anyway was the pan method, the green path, if you will. And then I also included a red path, or a stencil version. Which one did you go for?
Pretty much used the cookie cutter and the. I guess you could say we used the red. The red version.
You used the red path, sure. Was any of this to do with your favorite color being red, or?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. So we looked at. I'm looking at it one more time. So yeah, most of it was green. Then the holes we did. Yeah, that was the red. But yeah, it has nothing to do with me liking red either.
Nothing to do with that, but so I was very curious because I mainly did it that way to save space, which, I mean, space doesn't really mean anything if you're just gonna be putting it on a document like this, but if you're printing it out, space is definitely needed. So I typed it out in a way that if you read ignoring the green path, if you ignore everything that's green, you get a red recipe. You get a pathway that will work. Then if you ignore all of the red, you'll also get a pathway that works. What you're not supposed to do, which, if I'm hearing you right, sounds like you might have done, But what you're not supposed to do is combine a red thing with a green thing. Did you mix up some directions?
I I'm just looking at the. I mean, we did kind of use a bit of a mix because the way you said cookie cutter, so I did what I did what was pretty much was listed in the equipment.
So if you're doing the cookie cutter path or the red path, you don't do anything. You don't need the green. You don't follow the green. You don't do whatever. But if you are doing the green, you don't do the red. You don't need the red. So
Oh yeah,
I know I'm stressing that out, but
oh,
so
yeah.
you did the red path mostly, or did you actually do the red path?
Okay, I did most of the red path. Then wait, but then when I looked at the 350 and then 250, I think we did instead of like 20 minutes, we did 10 minutes for 250.
10 for 2? What? Pardon my cookie language, but
Is that the way the cookie crumbles?
that's probably why you had a little bit of mistakes in there. But I do digress. I do digress. So
Yeah, well,
with that red path, a part of it is either with a fork or with a toothpick,
oh, we
poking
did
little holes.
the toothpick for that.
You did the toothpick, so every one of them should at least have like 3 or 4 holes in them. That's
did.
that's just to ensure the cooking process worked.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You did 250 in 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we poked 5 holes in each cookie. Did 20 minutes on 350, and then for the final 10 minutes we did 250.
You you
Our
you did. Yeah. See, the thing is, I didn't even expect this outcome.
But hey, the cookies turned out good.
Nothing wrong with it, I guess, but it's just baffling because I didn't foresee this future. You you broke the fortune teller here, or the fortune cookie teller here. But wow. So you pretty much did close to 90% red path, and then green path for the remainder.
Guess so. Well,
That's interesting.
yeah.
I'm just baffled over here, but I can completely drop it because
We do have like a little easy bake like sized oven essentially. So
it
I don't know
was
if that
an
has anything to do
easy
with it.
bake.
No, we like
Oh.
not literally, but we don't have like a normal sized oven.
Okay, I suppose I could see why you also did like the additional timer. I guess if I'm imagining correctly, then I guess it makes sense. But the process doesn't exactly matter as long as you say it was like on a scale of it was on a 5. You said it was pretty average. It was pretty smack dab in the middle. Not easy, not hard.
Definitely wasn't a one person job, I'll say that.
It wasn't. I mean, this is probably because I do it like pretty much yearly, but it's pretty much a one-person job here.
But hey, I got the cookies to work though.
You got them to work, and that's the main idea, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
The real main idea is I'm gonna bring out the scale again. On a scale of enjoyment, 1 being burn it in a hole, it is terrible, and 10 being insert profound language here.
Insert profound language. This is awesome. I would have to give it like a 9.5.
Really?
So I mean, it was
Okay.
fun. I mean, it's not. It was. I mean, it's pretty cool to just bake cookies from scratch, I guess.
Yeah, I think it really is incredible to do a lot of things from scratch.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty much. Not taking notes from Betty Crocker, just doing my own recipe or doing my own thing.
Yeah, yeah, your Betty Crock off, your Betty knockoff.
Yeah. So, how easy was it for you on a scale of 1 to 10? One
Oh,
being
you're
difficult.
borrowing the scale method from me. All
Yeah,
right,
pretty much.
so I I made the scale, so I think I know what I mean. Let's see. One was on, in my opinion, one is, very easy, and 10 is being hardest to do. Or was
Yep.
it vice versa? Whatever, but I'm going to, because this is important. For me, it wasn't average. It was not smack dab in the middle. For me, depending on what the scale was, I forgot what what it was. I'm just gonna say if 1 is super easy and if 10 was super hard, I'm gonna have to put it at like a 2 or a 3. 'Cause it was pretty pretty on the easy side. Okay, maybe 3 because of the fact that the the instructions were kind of unclear, so I had to kind of mix things around. I like take step 3 and put it in step 2, and then put step 6 instead of step 3 or whatever. Like wacky things like that. But overall, it was pretty all right.
Awesome. Oh yeah, I was almost gonna send a picture of the cookies.
I don't even think we could send over a picture of this batch anyway, because
Well,
I'm gonna be honest, a lot of mine are already gone because we don't only live in a house of just me and somebody else. There are 4 other people in here, so it's gonna go.
still have still plenty left of these cookies, but they're still tasty. So, anyways, so is this something you would want to bake again, just for yourself?
I mean, definitely. I mean, maybe not for myself, but that's just because, a full batch of cookies for one person, that can really
Well,
be a lot. But overall, it is definitely a recipe that we're probably going to do again, which is mainly why I started thinking of this whole segment idea, this recurring segment idea of swapping, not only to expand our skills, but to also find another thing that we could just latch onto. Um, so, if once again adopting the scale, 1 being burn it in a hole and stomp on it or whatever, and then 10 being creaming your cookies.
mm-hmm.
I might have to actually do the same. I might have to cream my cookies with you.
Yeah.
But I think I'm also going to give it a 9.5 because not only was it pretty much an enjoyable process, it was easy for me anyway. It was also just, I think, my first time doing a cookie that was like that. Now, uh, mine shares, the one that I sent you shares a little bit of similarity with the one you sent me, but the process is pretty different, and I'm pretty proud of that process. So, if you're asking me if we're going to do this again, we're doing this again.
Yeah, I plan to too as well.
Yeah, I mean, heck, maybe next holiday season, who knows? Maybe we both make both of them and see how that goes.
Maybe Yeah, I'll probably do the shortbread crescent cookies.
Oh, you're gonna try combining the two?
I don't know, maybe, or I'll just make them separately.
Because I was thinking of doing the separate route.
I also improved on the other recipe swap thing. I also improved on that. Instead of getting a kit, I actually was able to create my own, cooking the chicken strips on the pan, 8 minutes per side.
Oh yeah, okay. So you're talking about the
Street
let's see,
kill tacos.
episode one or not episode one, segment one,
Yeah.
street kill tacos. You're talking about you enhanced yours.
Yep. So like, not it's no longer like a kit. I just recreated myself.
All right. Are you making your own tortillas or are you still buying those ones?
I have the tortillas though. They're still like at the like the grocery store tortillas. Like, so they're pre-made, but
Still pre-made, but
but it's not a prepped, like it's not like a prepared meal thing like at Costco.
all right. Well, that certainly works. That's progress, and in my opinion, that's pretty epic progress there. It's awesome.
I guess the next process will have to be me making the tortilla itself.
And that's something that I have not yet done. So if you could manage to actually do that before me, hey, that'd be perfect.
Oh yeah, remember we talked about our holidays and New Year's? Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I perfectly do.
Oh yeah, there was something in between those two. It
What
turns
was
out
in
you had
between
a
those?
Oh yeah, it turns out you had a birthday.
I did?
Yes, you did. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. What do we talk about?
Well, I mean, since it's the reversed 12th birthday, you didn't anything interesting?
It's the reverse 12th birthday. That means 2 and then a 1.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's just say, so on the 26th, which was not when I shifted my age, on the 26th, the day after Christmas, was basically whenever my parents came up to me and was like, hey, usually we do something not necessarily extravagant, but unique or special, or you get to decide what the dinner and what the pastry of choice is for the celebration. So on the 26th, I was basically asking that. And for whatever reason, the first thought in my head was like a tray of homemade chicken fettuccine alfredo, but instead of little pieces of chicken, I wanted like a big, for lack of better terms, a big beefy chicken, like big pieces of chicken in there. I spat that out in like 2 seconds, like after they asked me that. I don't know why I thought of it, but I thought of it. So I did answer that one. And the same sort of thing was said about my cake, or pastry, or whatever you want to call this creation, which essentially was, and I actually drew a diagram of what I was meaning. I think I deleted it since, but it's essentially bottom layer is brownie, and then you cover that up with like a filling. So in our case, it was like chocolate pudding, I think. Then we put vanilla cake on top of that, the same filling. So I think it was either that or maybe it was a frosting. Let's just say a filling, whether it's the same one or a different one. Then on top of that, another brownie layer, and then another separating filler. And then on top of that was another vanilla cake thing.
Like a parfait or something.
Is it not parfait?
I don't even.
It was just a layered cake that technically had brownies in it. I guess. And then obviously you decorate the outside with a clean layer of vanilla frosting. And one of my brothers who actually used to work in a local store's bakery,
Mm-hmm.
actually piped some letters and stuff like that. So he wrote out like I think he made like a flower or something as a little decoration, and like a like writing, like the happy birthday, the message on top. Um,
Dun, 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 dun.
oh my God, am I one? Am I two? Am I three? Am I
4.
3 hours later? But so yeah, that's essentially what I asked for on the 26th. Now, when it came time for the actual day, the 28th, it was pretty much just another day, I guess. I mean, I woke up obviously later than when I was born, so, and whenever I did wake up, I was already 21. I didn't have that moment of, I don't know if you have this tradition, or actually, it might depend on when you were officially born, but I was born at exactly 8:03 a.m. Either that or 8:09, somewhere in the 8 O's, let's just say,
Yeah.
a.m. And for a long time, whenever I used to get up at like 7 for school reasons, or earlier even, um, she used to, as soon as she saw me, as soon as it turned like the exact time, she basically hummed "Happy Birthday."
And everyone just shouts, "Happy birthday!"
Not everyone, but at the start, because I don't know if you know this by my voice, but I am pretty much white,
Yeah.
so I th- I think it's safe to say that a lot of us, I'm talking about white people, are cheesy, corny goofballs. So of course, if you have one as a mother, let's just say you're gonna have some goofy cornball moments. And sometimes these goofy cornball muffins are too much for you, but sometimes it's just right, and this one's just right. I will miss that goofy cornball ness if it never happened again or whatever. But I do every year pretty much get a mom personal wish of happy birthday. It's 8:03. You're officially this age now. It's not like you have to wait 1 hour before you officially turn it. So yeah, I got that. That pretty much started my day. Like I was officially that age, and I was also officially in an early to midlife crisis because of it.
Oh, boy.
Because obviously, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I mean, in America, I was an adult for like a few years already, but technically, I am an adult. So it's like an 18-year-old legally isn't allowed to
Now you
consume alcohol in this nation, at least.
can vote.
Yeah, we could vote on whether the next person who gets elected lowers the age of drinking, I guess. That
Yeah.
might be the only thing, but political digression. Um, so, anyway, it was basically just a normal December 28th.
Yep.
Pretty
Interesting.
much, I mean, we, or at least I did, little presents at, I want to say 1 or maybe 2, well, 1 to 2 p.m. That was like my present time, so I got the extra additional things that other people would get on Christmas, but, you know, since it's my birthday, let's do the more fun ones. So I think in part one I was saying things like I got clothing and stuff like that for Christmas, but less clothing on my birthday. This is fun. Uh, but yeah, it was essentially a normal day after that 2 p.m. sort of time, except
Mhm.
for whenever it came to dinner and dessert time, which was what I mentioned earlier, the chicken fettuccine alfredo and the cake pastry brownie thing. Other than that, it's pretty normal. I mean, I got like 6 notifications on my timeline saying like, "Oh my God, happy birthday!" from
This and that, this and that. Oh,
former teacher or from family friend that I only remember meeting once, or from my from my fake account, which we might have to talk about this in detail in a different podcast. But I think one of them might have been you, one of them might have been my aunt, or whatever. But from various people in my life in some shape or form.
mm-hmm.
All pretty much wished me on various timelines. Some of it's on the old person Facebook, some of it's on a Discord, some of it's on anywhere you could pretty much think of. Um, so yeah, I responded to a few of them, and I realized there are too many people who are wishing me this year. So
Like so, it's like every response you have is like it's kind of like the same response every time because it's the same thing they say.
it is the same thing. And I mean, I try to differentiate my responses, like my thanks, up. So like, if you scroll through my account or my wall, right, you can see that I wished person A. But wait, are we gonna do a callback here? Uh, I wished Mr. Bob, like I said, to
Bob.
Mr. Bob, um, hey, thank you. Yeah, and then I said to Mrs. Bob, who might know us a little bit better, some joke like, oh, thank you, and how old are you? Right, because you're not supposed to ask a lady her age, but it's like one of those kind of funny little jokes because if you're close to a lady, I guess you could technically joke about these things. But if you're like a stranger, it's like you get your face slapped or something for asking. But just jokes, little jabs like that if you know somebody. Other than my reactions and comments, replies, it's pretty much a normal day.
Hmm. So, yeah, it's like interesting birthday tradition you have. Like ours, like we just celebrate it like pretty much the whole day.
Whole day? How is that like?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like, well, I mean, it depends. Depends on the year. It's like they're like back in school. Yeah, I would just go to school like it's normal,
Right.
and then like later probably celebrate going to dinner.
I love how I said ha ha ha, right? Like
Yeah,
my birthday is always on a winter break.
yeah,
So I never went to school ever on mine.
yeah.
It's not because I didn't want to. It's not like I cut it. It's that the
Well,
town cut it for me.
pretty much. And I mean, if it's on a weekend, yep, just celebrate it.
Oh
Yep,
yeah, epic.
and yep, I was born more at dusk, so I don't know. I've been so I guess I wouldn't officially turn my age till like 6:41.
Oh shoot. Okay.
You're lucky. Your birthday was on a holiday break.
I mean, it's it's lucky that it was on a holiday break, but it's either super lucky or super unlucky that it's very close to another gift-giving holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard opinions on both sides saying that, oh, that must be great, or oh, I feel really bad for you. But because like it's super weird because uh, my father, his birthday is basically spaced out evenly. So, you know, he could have a birthday today, and then 6 months later, it's basically Christmas. And 6 months after that, it's his birthday again. So it's probably like a little bit give or take of, well, I'm not even considering leap years, but give or take a little bit. It's basically 6 months in, 6 months out. And so I've heard both sides of that conversation too. Of, oh, your father's very lucky, or oh, your father's not very lucky. But yeah, I think that's pretty interesting with that.
Mine's kind of spaced between the holidays, I guess. Crap.
Are you playing that actually?
Yeah.
You're not like pressing play. You're actually
Nope.
playing.
I'm playing it.
I guess I could join you. Fuck.
Yeah, so good. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Thank you for listening to episode 7 of DomJake Podcast / the holiday special. Be sure to subscribe if you want or don't. But, well, thanks for listening. Have a good day.
Peace out.